Hey there. For today's video, I'm going to be focusing on Booster Draft for Star Wars Unlimited. Going to be doing some pack one, pick one. For those of you not familiar with that phrase, it's basically a thought exercise where I'm going to be opening packs and then talking about the cards in them and what I would take first as like my first pick of a draft if I was presented with those choices. Now, because Star Wars Unlimited has a separate leader draft before the actual booster draft starts, what I've done is I basically polled a few people, got the last 3 leaders they had in their draft, and I used those as the 3 leaders that I would have access to for each of these packs. I'm going to be running through 5 packs. I'll talk about different cards in them and why they may be a consideration for you as your first pick. I also want to add that I recently wrote a 7-part article over at garbagerollers.com doing a full draft analysis for every card in the Spark of Rebellion set. And yeah, it's got grades, it's got analysis on all the cards. There's also a little handy cheat sheet that has all the cards lined up. I'll talk about this a little bit more at the end, but let's get started. So the first pack that I got right here. So the leaders that we have access to in this draft are Boba Fett, Tarkin, and Sabine. And these are the cards we opened. So first things first, in a basic pack like this, a lot of the cards are going to be filler. They're not going to be really first pick consideration. Here we've got a few, in my opinion, really strong cards like Super Laser Tech, Kanan. We've got an Avenger. It's a legendary. It's not really something I'd usually consider as a first pick. It's a very expensive card. It's 2 colors. But, you know, it's worth some money. So if that's... it's totally okay to pick something like that if you want it. The card basically could pay for an entire booster draft, potentially. So the cards, though, that I would consider are these, right? Avenger, we talked about. If you're going to pick it for value, that's totally okay. But we've got Super Laser Tech, a fantastic card. It ramps, and it's a unit, right? You're getting value out of it before it ramps. It is 2 colors, right? It's villain green. We got a similar idea here with Kanan. It's a blue hero card, one of the strongest pure 4 drops in the game. And then I've also added Force Throw here. Now, it's not something I'd usually consider first picking. I just want to point out that that card is incredibly powerful if you can enable it in draft, if you have enough Force units, or if maybe one of our leaders was a Force leader. Probably be more inclined to pick it there. But basically, I'm looking at our leaders too. We've got 2 villain leaders and only 1 hero. One of our villains is also green. So Super Laser Tech right here fits incredibly smoothly into our draft. It leaves us pretty open, right? We can play Tarkin with any other color. So it basically does not color lock us at all. It does villain lock us potentially, but we don't always if the villain card pool dries up really quickly, we can always try to pivot into a Sabine deck. But Super Laser Tech is not only incredibly powerful, but incredibly flexible with our leaders. I think it's a pretty slam dunk first pick in this pack. All right, number 2. This is pack number 2. Our leaders here are Leia, IG-88, and again, we've got a Sabine Wren. This pack is a pretty weak one. The rarest Del Meeko is probably not even valuable. Is a lot of basically like C-range cards in this pack. I think the best cards here are laid out right here. I think Power of the Dark Side is the strongest pure card in this pack, but it is a villain blue card, which only is playable here with IG-88, and it would kind of triple color lock us because we would need to be playing IG, which means we're red. So we'd be like basically praying that we could play red-blue villain. On the other hand, Greedo is pretty flexible. He's a solid turn 1 play. He's not like amazing or anything, but he's pretty flexible because he can go in hero or villain. So he is yellow and none of our leaders are yellow. So that kind of lowers the flexibility a little bit. And on the other hand, Snowspeeder is another solid, yet not super exciting card. It pairs with Leia and Sabine only, but it is also not color locked. So we're pretty flexible with that. and that's probably where I lean in this pack. It's not an exciting one, but you know, sometimes you get a kind of mid pack as your first one, and you take what you can. All right, next up in this pack, leaders are Jhin, Thrawn, and Chirrut, and we got not a ton of bombs here, but a lot of really good playables. There's actually like 4 plus the rare I put here is 4 Cause I Believe In. I don't think 4 Cause I Believe In is particularly playable in draft. It's very hard to get enough hero cards in your deck for it to routinely deal 3 or more damage. But it is the rare in this pack, so I kind of just wanted to point it out. Viper Probe is a very solid 2-drop in villain and goes in all villain decks, but we only have 1 villain leader. Consortium Star Viper is a pretty strong green neutral card. Death Trooper is a very strong blue villain card, but that, like with Power of the Dark Side in the previous pack, pretty narrow for us. We'd have to play it with Thrawn. And then we got Reinforcement Walker, which in my opinion is one of like the best 8-drops available in draft. It's got a very strong when played ability that lets you heal. So kind of, you know, you're ramping up, you're trying to stabilize when you play these 8-drops, and a lot of them don't do anything immediately, but this does, has a ton of health, and if they can't take care of it, that heal every turn or potentially card drive return is very strong. So yeah, I think because it's also like you can play it in hero and villain, I think it's a pretty slam dunk first pick in this pack. I'd be pretty happy starting with this card. All right, next up. In this one, got Jhin, Director Krennic, and Chewbacca. And again, I think this pack is fantastic. There's a lot of really strong commons here. There's the Jedi Lightsaber is a very good rare. Mercenary Company is a very good common. It's neutral aspect. Green Squadron A-Wing was one of the best 2-drops. Now it is hero locked and red, so it kind of becomes more narrow. And Open Fire is probably just the best pure red common. In this pack, I'm kind of torn between 2. I think I'd be between the Jedi Lightsaber and the Open Fire. Jedi Lightsaber would work with either Jhin and Chewbacca and stays on color with Chewbacca, so it's pretty flexible. Open Fire, we could play it with any of our leaders, but none of our leaders are red, so red would kind of be our secondary color in that with that pick. I think both of these cards are completely justifiable as your first pick here. I would tend to lean Jedi Lightsaber for pure power, although the Open Fire is a little more flexible because you can still play villain with it. And the last pack, right here, we got Leia, IG, and Cassian Andor. This one is, you know, there's a lot of good cards here too. They don't all fit with the colors that we're working with, but here are some standouts for us. Strafing Gunship is a neutral aspect yellow, so it could pair with any of these leaders. It's a very strong card. Battlefield Marine, if A-Wing isn't the best turn 1 play, then this guy is very strong. Would limit us from playing IG, but probably okay. Mercenary Company, we talked about this guy. He's strong. I think I would probably lean Battlefield Marine between those 2 cards because we have 2 heroic leaders. And lastly, Ghost. I think the issue with that card in this particular pool is just the color barrier that we have. We don't have any blue leaders, and it would lock us into Cassian or Leia. I think, though, you could probably argue any of these cards are acceptable as a first pick. I would lean Strafing Gunship because I prefer to stay a little more flexible with my hero villain early on. So Strafing Gunship would be able to go into any of these pools, while Battlefield Marine and Ghost would not be able to. But, you know, I think Battlefield Marine, especially because we have Leia as our leader, is also justifiable here. All right, so that's kind of the wrap on the Pack 1 Pick 1. It was just going to be quick, a little exercise with 5 packs. And I just wanted to quickly talk about this series that I wrote over at Garbage Rollers. They hosted a series of my articles. There's 7 of them, doing a complete analysis of all the cards in the Sparks of Rebellion set. I gave them all grades. I wrote a little bit about each one of them. talk about a leader tier list in there too, and a little bit on draft strategy. It'd be cool if you guys go check that out. They have a great site there. They do gameplay videos. They do community spotlights. They do interviews. They have a weekly a tier list they maintain weekly for Constructed over there. So it's a nice place to get some Star Wars Unlimited content. It'd be nice to get some hits on this article. If enough people find it interesting, I'll probably do it again for the next set. And yeah, links to all of that, the articles, the Garbage Roller site. I'm also gonna put a link to the draft rules for anyone that's new to drafting and wants a refresher on that. All be in the description in the video. And yeah, if you made it here, I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe to this channel. It means the world to me. I think yeah, I'd really appreciate it if you enjoyed this. If you have different opinions on any of the packs and like the picks I made, I'd like to hear that too, because you know I'm not perfect. I don't always have the right answer, and it's be a great learning experience. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this short video, and stay tuned for the next one.